Hello and welcome to Animated Wonders, an Explosion Network podcast where we celebrate animation in all of its forms. This is Animated Wonders. In this season, we'll be discussing all the films from Mamoru Hosoda. Hello, my name is Blight, and joining me to discuss this week's Animated Wonder is Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here to talk about single-letter social media places.
Yes, for the second time on this season. Kinda.
In Summer Wars, it was Oz, so that's two
Oh,
letters.
true. Yeah. Oh, true. Good point. Yeah. You. This week we are talking about Belle, released in 2021, coming from Japan. Mamoru Hosoda wrote and directed one. Studio Chizu, distributed by Toho. English cast was Kylie, McNeill, Castro Jr., Bentley, Griffin, Jessica DiCicco, Ben Lepley, Manny, Jacinto, Brandon Engman, Hunter Schafer in her first role, note. Chance and Trance Crawford. Synopsis was Teen Chizu. How do you say her name? Chizu?
Suzu.
Chizu? Teen Chizu embarks on an epic quest to uncover the identity of a mysterious beast in a virtual world. Start with you this week, Ash. Have you watched this one before, and what are your thoughts going in and overall reactions this time?
I feel like I saw this in cinemas.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember 100%, but I feel like that's something I may have even talked about on What Do You Want to Watch. But it's been obviously at least 5 years. So, yeah, I enjoyed watching the film. I think obviously inspired by Beauty and the Beast, and you can see all those kind of elements to it. Again, Hosoda kind of tackling this virtual online world and like probably more knowing what the online world is, like kind of addressing directly like how we act in the online world, given the a certain degree of anonymousness that some people take advantage of, that kind of stuff, and internet celebrities and all that kind of stuff. But it kind of has this really dark twist to it that becomes a very human story, I guess. But yeah, I really enjoyed it on this rewatch. I assume you hadn't seen this before. What did you think?
No, I haven't seen it before. Missed it. I really enjoyed it. I think it's his, at least so far, we've got one film left, of course. So far, his just biggest movie. It seems to have like him redoing a lot of themes and ideas that he's touched on other things, even in small and bigger ways and whatnot. But it's also oddly nearly a musical. And then I did a quick reading some stuff after watching it. Apparently, he did want to do it initially as a musical, but then didn't think it would work well in Japan because Japan doesn't have a history of musicals over there, so opted against it. But you can see that sort of still existing in the film to a degree, the idea of it actually being a musical, which would be quite interesting. Obviously it's really, really good to look at, animation wise, character design wise, and all those aspects. And touching on the music again, it's the soundtrack to this is just fantastic. Also found out after looking up afterwards, Ludwig Fossils. What's his name? The guy who does Hideo Kojima music, soundtracks, what stuff. Fossil. This was his Fossil, yeah. This was his first cinematic, or this was his first movie. This was his first feature film he did any soundtrack work on. So that was a little interesting tidbit I found out. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's dense as fuck though, which is I guess for better or worse, because he's retouching on a lot of different ideas that he's played with and returning to them. And you've got like, there's like a romance thing going on. Then there's like the social media internet wordplay going on. Then there's like almost like a potential school bullying thing going on over here. And then there's like overcoming trauma. And then you've got the shit at the end of the movie where she's trying to help these kids who are getting also beat up by their father, which is dark as hell. And then you've got like, there's all these, so much. Yeah. There's all these things going on. So I didn't, like, it works still for me, but it does feel dense. Even at 2 hours, I would say. Core themes I had down for this one: social media and hiding in it, and then trauma and understanding / healing. I think were the obvious ones that come from it. If we compare, how do you think this movie differs or goes about the social media? Sorry, or online, I guess I should have it as, I've wrote down social media, but I guess just online internet stuff, comparing that to what we had seen done in Summer Wars. And this is coming, I think, nearly 10 years after that, or nearly 10 years.
I think this one touches on people's reactions to things that they see online. I think she says half of these people hate you, and then half of the people love you, and it feels like throughout the film you see a lot of examples of people tearing other people down and that kind of thing. And I mean the core threat that these the fucking Justice League or whatever they call themselves, the core threat that they have is we'll reveal who you actually are. And then you're meant to feel incredible shame about being revealed and that kind of thing. That being this threat and the worst thing that could possibly happen to you in this world, I think is probably very telling. That speaking on how bad it would be if certain people on 4chan or stuff like that were revealed.
The YouTube comment section, I mean, is just
who they actually were, and they had to own their actions and that kind of stuff. I think is very much addressed. So
yeah, I mean, even to agree, it's there's still people go on YouTube and say and do terrible things just with a voice modulator or a mask on and all these sorts of things. There's still, all the way in 2026, we're still dealing with from lower level stuff to all the way to 4chan, just obviously people living in the anonymity of the online world. And something he did touch on in Summer Wars, but it'd be interesting to know if he thought that would get better by the time he got around to making this movie, or it's just an acceptance at this stage, because it's still a discussion point that people have consistently in the real world. And obviously now in Australia we've got the whole attempted age banning of social media apps and stuff for kids and stuff, as well as that's going. But it's just a constant discussion point, I guess, across the whole world about what to do with that, and no one seems to be able to solve that. People can just go online and be evil.
Well, I think it's also very telling that obviously the creators of View, the world, are very hands off and don't want to enforce anything. So this other group has come in and decided they're going to be the arbiters of what's right and wrong. Yeah, and enforcing their will on everybody else. I think that's a very relevant.
Yeah. Even though their will or their idea is even if they think it's coming from a good point, the fact that it is revealing is still rather messed up.
Yes, and they're willing to do bad things to get whatever they think is right.
And their justification of their chasing good. Yeah. And then obviously I think again, there's so many, I think, ideas and things, but
I mean also with the story about overcoming grief, dealing with trauma, and obviously the idea of her mother dying trying to save for somebody else, and then she has she overhears the other people saying how terrible it is that her mum died that way and it was selfish and that kind of stuff, in negative connotations to all of it. And then she, I guess, reacts without thinking, I guess is the way she had to go save those people because it was the right thing to do in that moment, later on. So her coming to that realization, I think, was a powerful through line of the film as well. Because that was the thing that was holding her back from singing in real life.
Yeah.
And needing to be Belle.
Yeah, I think the stuff with her mother and how that affected her is really interesting. And I wish I was trying to see if there was any where he's drawn that from. I'm not really sure, but it is interesting because it's just, you've got her mother literally just does a very selfless act, obviously, just to save a child that's not hers, and then the general reaction of everyone else being like, that's selfish to leave a child like that, was making me think about like, oh, what if your parents are fucking, I don't know, a policeman or something and dies trying to save someone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, would people have the same reaction and stuff? I'm not sure if that's the general
they went
idea
to soldiers or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the general idea of where we're potentially going on from that, but the fact that she took all those years until that moment where she's standing on top of Moby Dick's whale to come to a returning theme. I don't whales. Standing on top of that to have the realization that, yeah, her mother, she wasn't doing it because she didn't love her, or wasn't doing it because she, or of any negative connotation towards her as her daughter, but she was just doing it because she was doing what she felt was right, and that's what inspires her to make the same choices. So really overall good positive message. Maybe if more people did it, did what was right, we'll be in a better world. But here we are. Cultural context I had down, it's a new Beauty and the Beast, which I didn't know going into it. Which I think is obviously quite interesting. That, I mean, it's not like fully Beauty and the Beast, but it's also obviously inspired by. And I don't really have anything else other than to say that I appreciate that it's inspired by Beauty and the Beast, and yet it's at least a completely different take, and plays around with the general idea of hiding within that character because of the darkness within your heart. Hey, shout out to the Boy and the Beast. What's going on there that turns him into the Beast and stuff. But yeah, I mean, what do you? Because this is the first time he's done something that's like obviously inspired by like such a known
something so classic
thing. Yeah,
I think a clear distinction between the properties, but like taking, at least admitting that it is inspired by that, rather than people just drawing the conclusions that it's between the two things. I think it is very still loosely based on it. There's still so much that is like completely different, but it's not romantic in any. It's not meant to be romantic in any sense, I guess.
Yeah. So on that, I jumped on Reddit after watching it. I found a thread with people discussing it, and I found a bunch of people that were annoyed that the romance wasn't there, even though they said that they got it all from the. They felt like it was romantic between the Beast and Belle when they were in the world. I'd never got that. I thought it was. I think it was just very obvious from the outset, especially as the film continued, that she's just bonding to this character because of her own trauma that she has within her. That that she gets drawn towards the Beast because of that trauma, and that's why she sets out in this mission. But yeah, I thought it was wild that people sort of on this thread like, man, I'm so annoyed. I thought they were like setting out a romantic story, and
no, I could totally understand where they're coming from. Like, I think there's certain beats that you could believe that it is heading that direction. Whether it is just the, I mean, even when they actually meet and they're like holding each other, like that, they kind of have like, you could read that romantically if they were just like the age difference or whatever. I think probably just the secrecy around who the Beast is, and based on, weirdly, in my mind, going back to Summer Wars, how all the important characters in the world just happen to be from the same family. You go into this film believing that all the important characters are probably going to be within Suzu's circle of friends. You automatic. I totally believe that a lot of people believed that the Beast was either the kayak boy or the basketball kid.
Yeah.
And it ended up not being.
But no, someone on the complete opposite side of Japan.
The country,
yeah. Yeah.
Which is like more realistic.
Yeah.
Based on the online world and that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
I mean, I can accept when they're like, the kid's in Japan. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, because how are you going to do it if he ain't? What is she doing at that point?
It's like, fuck, can't we get a plane ticket to Ecuador?
Yeah, and what do you think about the fact that this film does seem to have Hosoda touching on a lot of stuff that he's touched on before, so making jokes as I go along here with a lot of things that remind me of his other films, but this one does like sort of stand out a bit as the one that touches on, or even little to sort of larger, not in a bad way redoes them, but it does seem like he's just like he has themes and ideas by the time you get to this one that you're like, these are areas he likes to play within, I guess.
I think that's pretty common for a lot of filmmakers. Like they'll go back to similar themes or ideas, like want to dive deep on certain subjects and that kind of thing. So it's not super surprising. Probably just from an aesthetic point of view, I think it's interesting. Although this just does kind of segue into a point I want to bring up, because once again in this film, he has whales.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. A fucking Moby Dick whale. Yeah.
So I had to look up if somebody's got some sort of explanation for all these whales. So Hosoda for Belle did a Reddit Ask Me Anything. Someone asked, "What's your explanation on the whales that you use for your many films?" Hosoda said, "Yes, I'm well aware that there's no explanation about whales in any of these films. And of course, in Belle, whales once again make an appearance. It just shows that you was a place where something like whales can be leisurely drifting around. It makes it seem like you is a wide and wonderful world. Whales to me are very special animals. It's an animal that has been preyed upon by humans and taken advantage of. If you read Moby Dick, they're portrayed as evil, but in reality, they are something that needs to be preserved and protected. I feel the same thing about wolves. They have not been seen as good animals in medieval times because they preyed on farm animals. I made a film about wolves in it, Wolf Children. I personally want to take the side of these animals that have been taken advantage of. Aside from that, I simply like wolves and whales as animals. So that's how they make it into so many of my films.
Fair enough. I mean, the part about like him thinking about them as like an animal that humans have tortured and killed for and
hunted for no apparent reason.
For no apparent reason. That does make sense from his.
But also, he just likes them, and that's why they're in there.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just as simple as that.
Yeah. I mean, the one in this one has speakers on it, so
it does.
Yeah. It's the doof doof whale. Mad Max, eat your heart out.
Mad Max wishes it could be a whale.
Yeah, the doof warrior in Mad Max wishes it could be a whale. Yeah. Animation in this one. What do you think? Because it is a mix of obviously the real world. It's similar to Summer Wars in that the real world stuff is presented in a certain way. Traditional animation. You've got the CG animation sort of style for the world of view.
Yeah.
I appreciated both. I appreciated some subtle details. Even there was a moment when the camera's like panning around when she's doing like the dance and sing with the beast recreation moment from Beauty and the Beast almost. It's like you see some flickering on like stuff around the world, like to give it that digital world effect and stuff like that. And also appreciated just how it blends together. But also I thought the character designs in the world of view were a lot better in this one than the character designs in Summer Wars. I forgot to write down the guy's name, but I found out that this and Mirai both had character design work done by a prominent Disney character animator. And
interesting.
Has also worked with him now in Scarlet. So, that's I think the standout point there. Apparently, they met at the Academy Awards or something one time, and then they hit it off. But you look at his IMDb, and it's like all these Disney films, and then just like his films spread out amongst other Western animated stuff. So that was quite interesting. But yeah, definitely feel like the character design stood out a bit more. What do you think of the animation in this one?
No, yeah, beautiful. Like obviously, if you're going to sell the character of Belle and the dragon character, you need to have great designs, and they're both designed really well. So, I think really, like, obviously this is a little bit more action heavy than some of his other stuff, like with the dragon flying around and all that kind of stuff. So I think, the contrast between the real world and the digital world, I think was very effective. Yeah, it looks very pretty.
Now, I was touched on the pacing before, but I wanted to get your thoughts on how it, like, do you feel that the pacing and the overall how much is chucked into this 2-hour film is quite a lot, or?
Yeah, but I never really had an issue with the pacing. I think it was just how it is, and there was definitely a moment towards the end where I was like checking how much more of this do we have, like, because it's like it seems like we've still got a lot to go, and it's like 20 minutes to resolve everything. But yeah, I didn't really notice any pacing issues. I assume you did.
No, I don't think it's. Yeah, I don't. Maybe a recreate. It's maybe not so much a pacing issue, but just because of how much is chucked in, and sometimes you get a little bit of whiplash in this film, especially I think
sometimes
scene,
you would like some time to like sit on information.
Yeah,
take it in.
Yes, and also I think a standout scene of like a good example of maybe there's just too much going on or too much flying around and not enough room given to moments that come before it and stuff, is the scene in which suddenly we're doing a recreation of some weird tactical board game to show the interactions between all these people arguing about her holding hands,
potentially having a boyfriend.
And just like the fact that we cut to this board game that you're sort of watching, you're like, what the fuck am I watching now? Like, what's like, what are we doing? Like, so yeah, I think there's a lot of ideas and a lot of things thrown at the wall in this one, and that was the one that stood out to me of like, why do we do that? Who's this film for?
I feel like it's a teen film, like obviously mainly teen characters at the center and like a teen dealing with grief and that kind of stuff. So I feel like that's the core target audience. I could definitely see it skewing older, because, but I don't know if this is one I probably wouldn't show kids necessarily. I don't think they'd get, because there is so much in there, and because it does take a darker turn.
I also think for kids it would be, so I agree with everything you're saying, and I'll just add that I think it almost would be too hard for some kids to understand, because it sort of flies for a lot of plot points at times that if you're not paying attention or you're too young to even be able to pick up on what is being put down, you're like, what is going on? Wondrous elements. Pick 2 elements of the film that stood out to you the most. We've got animation, visual style, music and sound design, voice performances, world building, emotional impact.
I think this week it's animation because of the 2 animation styles, and then music and sound design. I think the soundtrack to this is really great. The songs that Belle does are really catchy, and really impactful. I mean, I can't remember I don't know off the top of my head what the name of the song, like the song she's singing when she's revealed, and that everybody gets into, I think was pretty good. So, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go music and sound design as the first one as well. I think all the generally the songs that are sung in this paired with the general just music score, I thought was a standout from amongst.
Also, side note, we've been watching the dubs of all these. So obviously, it's an English version of these songs. So
true, and they're still good. So
they're still good.
They're still good. Still stand out. So they're really, I thought all of that was really good as well and stand out for this one. But then I'm going to go with the emotional impact, because I do think by the time you get to the I think her coming to the realization in that scene when she's singing on top of Moby Dick's whale, I think that's very, very good. Like this, the golden, all the golden auras of those people like they form like an egg around her, and then she like is reborn and breaks through them. Like it's very like visual story language there is quite strong. And then you have of course the scene at the end with the father and her just literally standing up to him is all that needs to sort of be done. I think there's some rather powerful stuff in it. But it's also sort of sad as well, because you don't get the potential outcome to the ending that some people may have wanted, of seeing him to go to prison or something like that. But it's just the harsh reality of the world we live in. Like, what are they going to do? Like, say, oh, I saw him beating his kids up online, or like some.
I would argue there should have been some sort of resolution. Like, it's really cool that you went there. What did you actually do for these 2 kids in the end?
Well, she gave the kid
she gave him a hug. That was
no. She gave him she awakened him to stand up. That's what their scene was.
Yeah, but the dad can still beat them when you're standing up.
No, he's going to stand up for himself. I don't know. I don't have a problem.
I would have taken him to child services, or I
don't think she can, because I think
she can take those kids to the police.
No, I don't think she can. I think the point of the last 15, 20 minutes was to show that was sort of the justice system paired with what happens online can't be I think the whole point was to show it's not fair sometimes. I think that's the point. I think the point was to show it doesn't work out.
I don't know why she's getting applauded.
Well, she went there. Yeah, she helped. Man, fuck you.
I will say, I do appreciate that as soon as this gruff alpha man comes up to a woman who's not going to put up their shit, he goes crawling away.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how
after he apparently looked like ripped out in the side of her face.
Scratched her face up, yeah.
Good job, my dude. Anyway, I just believe that after the credits roll, he's in prison now, you know.
How?
Or dead. Would be good also.
They're still reasonably young children.
Or,
yes, I think them getting into some sort of child services or going to another relative, I think, would have been a better resolution for that story arc. Well, just tell us what happened to them. Rather than just, I'm back.
In the novelization, they show us more. I'm going first this time so I can have favorite scene, sequence, or character. I'm taking the whale song. That whole thing. I'm taking that. It's beautiful, stunning, amazing.
I mean, that would be pretty high on my list too. Maybe the interrogation where the justice dude kind of shows his real colors. I feel like is probably relevant. Yeah, someone kind of
after he kidnapped someone.
Yeah, someone kind of overstepping their power, getting a little taste of power and taking it too far and kind of stuff. And probably during your whale song, him losing all those sponsors when he's upset about. She should be upset that she was revealed. It's bullshit, that kind of thing. Yeah, I think that, and then maybe just the comedic element of Kayak Boy and the popular girl actually being into each other and it being revealed.
Place in animation history, and I'm going to skip how it holds up today. Actually, this week.
I mean, probably not going to be totally remembered. I mean, it's a really great movie, but again, I know we said it as if you don't say it got a place, then you're trashing the movie. But I think it's just a really good one of Hosoda's films.
I'm going to say it does have a place in animation history for similar reasons to last week's in regards to history, but also because it has history in awards. Because I looked it up just now to make sure I got the facts right. So it is the second most Japanese animated film for awards it's received. So,
okay.
I think it has and then it had notes. It had
second. The film received 5 Annie Awards. In total, making it the second most nominations for a Japanese anime film at the awards, tied with Ghost in the Shell and behind Suzume and Boy in the Heron.
But they're the biggest animated, at least from my understanding, the biggest animated awards that we do, human race. It also notes here in Wikipedia they got a 14-minute standing ovation at Cannes Festival. So
anything gets a 14-minute standing ovation.
It's true. It's a good point.
Those Italians, they like to clap.
Yeah, I fell asleep, but Mamma mia. Any final thoughts?
No. I mean, there was the relationship stuff. I think it was really good. I think it's very subtle, but the relationship between her and her dad, I guess the slow coming out of her shell over the course of the film, I think, was done really well. Yeah. All the little character designs and like the little angel being the first one that sees her and that kind of stuff. Also, her manic friend, who was like her manager, I think she was great. And like,
the best part was just the first time she goes there and get all the screens and everything, and then when she leaves and the parents come in, it's like, we told you not to be in it.
So she sets up spaces all over the place.
Yeah,
and able to, even though she's kind of the bad guy and says, well, she's the one who doesn't want her to reveal she's Belle at the end because it'll undo all her hard work.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep. The only other thing I would like to note is, to double down on how much I enjoyed the music. I was listening to the soundtrack this afternoon. So,
two other things. Also, the reveal to the choir ladies are like knew everything all along and like following along, and like team up like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to show up.
Yeah, their little voice chat was good. Well, if we go, we'll reveal ourselves. Oh, we got to do it anyway.
And then I don't know whether it was something they cut, but the other two friends who didn't know she was Belle, just finding out she's Belle, was never addressed.
Again, it's
we
a lot
really
for 2
love
hours.
Belle. And then they're just in the room where they're all talking about her being Belle.
Yep.
So, other than that, fantastic.
It was cut to get it down to the just 2 hour runtime mark, like potentially just cut stuff, but.
Also, I don't know if you know this. You know how she mentions several times. Well, freckles get mentioned several times, right? The film's literal meaning in Japanese is dragon and the freckled princess.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
No, I did not know that. Fun fact. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Animated Wonders. Let us know what you thought of the film on social media at explosionnetwork.com/follow. If you enjoyed the show, you can find more podcasts, reviews, and pop culture coverage over at explosionnetwork.com. And if you'd like to support the podcast and Explosion Network, head on over to explosionnetwork.com/support. Until the next episode, remember that animation is cinema.